Hey everyone, I've gotten some people say, hey Channel Dad Bryon Lape, why is it so complicated to gain muscle? And I say it's not. Well, some of it isn't. It all depends on your physiology, but let's just break down the training regimes. I came across this on elemental.medium.com, link in the description below. The test gym, the best training, the strength training workout is surprisingly easy. I saw this and I thought for sure, I'm like, oh, this has got to be a Rippetoe article, but it isn't. Christie Aschwanden, I guess. Aschwanden. Aschwanden. I don't know. I don't know if it's Germanic or something else. Anyway, this is September 2nd. This is from obviously a few days ago. As a fitness columnist, I get lots of questions about the best way to work out. Many of these queries are about strength training. How many workouts per week? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, do I need to lift weights? Well, you're doing strength training. You got to lift more than you weigh. Is it better to do a few reps or have heavy weights or more reps than now? This is what I'm talking about. It just goes on and on and on. The reality is, unless you're a bodybuilder or training for powerlifting, those details aren't all that important. If you're doing strength training to increase your fitness, get stronger, and improve your health, the most important thing to do is something. Okay, there's some power to that. And he's got 3 world records, so I guess he knows what he's talking about. The number one principle is to get started and continue doing it. That's probably where 80% of the health benefits come from. Absolutely. They continue to do it. Weights are great, but not necessary. Maybe. There's a misperception out there that's resistance training needs to involve complex routines and special equipment. Yeah, that's the bodybuilding. That is Weeder right there. That's who I blame on that. But bodybuilding is complicated because you're trying to get all angles for all muscles and all kinds of stuff. That's simply not true, says James Steele, PhD, a scientist at UK Active and assistant professor of sport and exercise science at Solent University in Southampton, UK. In 2011, Steele and his colleagues published a set of evidence-based resistance training recommendations. The base is in their title, all about the base. On strength training research, they concluded that free weights, resistance training machines, and bodyweight exercises like push-ups and lunges could all increase strength. Yep. Push-ups and lunges will, and so will pull-ups. Pull-ups actually is probably a very misforgotten. Pull-ups and chin-ups, because pull-ups will work your back and chin-ups will work your arms. Strength training can be done at home with minimal or even zero equipment. Okay, 2017 study found that push-ups and bench press produce similar muscle and strength gains while done at a similar. That might be why a doctor told my mother to have my brother and I do back in the 70s. We should have listened to him, but we didn't. And a study published in 2016 compared the results of elbow flexing exercises, basically an arm curl, done either with or without weights. In the condition without weights, the participants contracted their muscles as hard as they could. Yeah, then you got to do it like 80,000 reps or something. Found no differences in muscle. Yeah, that is just too universal. Lots of times these are untrained and it's way too short. Because I'm pretty certain if you had people do 5-pound curls and 10-pound curls and 20-pound curls and 30-pound curls, you're going to see a difference. Even bolstering your bones doesn't require you stack on the weights. The vast majority of forces on the bones during exercises comes from the muscle contractions themselves. Yeah, perhaps a pick exercises that target the muscle group. This article is longer than I thought. Major muscle groups. Okay, so major muscle groups. So, Rippetoe in a starting strength, right? He's got squats. Okay, he's got bench press. Okay, rows or power cleans. Okay, so upper body. Deadlifts and overhead press. You don't get much more. About the only thing you could add there would be dips. During the pandemic, getting to a gym is extra challenging. It may not be safe. Oh my God, this is the hard surface stuff that has been debunked so many times. Why does it still come up? Well, people wear masks too. Bodyweight exercises are absolutely fantastic for upper body training. Yeah, but the long-term studies all show that you will lose strength, as my dogs bark. Once you really get strong in your upper body, lower body muscles, it can be quite become a little harder to continue progressing with unweighted exercises, but it's not impossible. The bodyweight squats can be surprisingly hard if you do a lot of them. Yes, but you will lose strength. After you've selected your exercises, try to execute them through the safest range of motion. That means, for instance, when you're doing your squats, you want to go low as you comfortably can and return to a full upright position. Yep. Training your through a long range of motion will build more muscle per rep than training. There's some truth to that, but really, once you break parallel with your hip, where your hinge of your hip, you start to unload your hamstrings, and when you go lower. So it depends on what you're trying to work. Intensity matters more than reps. That is true. Evidence-based, because like if you're doing a set of 5, it's, doing 8 momentary muscle failure at that point, which you can do without a break, as long as your sets, just stick with 5s. You might take you 40 push-ups to get to your breaking point, but only 8 arm curls. Yeah, but the idea is that those last several reps, I don't care if you're doing 5, 8, 10, 50, doesn't matter. Those last few reps absolutely have to take everything you got. Okay, that's the point. You probably just need one set, unless you're a strength training athlete with specific goals in mind, like bench a certain weight. You can get what you need by doing a single set of each exercise. Now that is probably after appropriate warm-up. So we have research split 34 into 3 groups, and all of them performed an 8-week program with the same strength training 3 to 8 times a week. The difference was has many sets of 7 exercises they performed. One group did 1 set per workout, while another did 3, and the final group did 5 sets per session. But what are the rep counts? The results showed that all groups similarly improved their muscle strength. Yeah, that's a subjective term. As measured by one repetition max testing on squat and bench, and the number of reps a subject could do of 50% of their bench press 1 rep max. Do more sets made the workout take longer, but it didn't increase the gains. Yeah, I don't believe that. And are these trained or untrained volunteers? It does not say. Keep it regular. This is even once a week is helpful. Yeah, regular workouts is the key. Just keep that consistency. I'm going to just keep going because I'm boring myself. Aim to progress. There's a concept in weightlifting called progressive overload. It's the idea that to achieve gains, you need to progressively increase the strength strain your workout is placing on your muscles. The principle of progression overload is more like a mindset than a rigid prescription. The important thing is to keep track of what you do each workout, and then try to do a little more. But that's still progressive. Whether you are doing a body weight workout and you do sets of 10, and then 2 weeks later you're doing sets of 15 or sets of 20, whatever it is, you're still progressing. Many lifters find that their bodies adapt to increase resistance at rates they wouldn't expect because you add more weight, and allows you to measure consistency. Yep. So there we go. So there's some good advice in here, and there's some just old standby nonsense. And I would really like to dig into some of these studies, because I bet you if you look under the covers of what they're really measuring and who the people are, it's not going to quite match with what they've scribbled here. But I do like the concept that it can be quite easy. You don't need a bazillion exercises. In fact, if you're going to build some strength, just stick with the basics, whether you're doing body weight or you're doing training, squats, deadlifts, overhead press, bench press, or if you're doing body weight, maybe you do body weight squats, maybe you do walking lunges, or you do your contractions with the arms, but do push-ups, pull-ups, chin-ups. Those are all dips. Those are all body weight exercises, and they're all going to work very well. So there you go. Thank you very much for stopping by. Thanks so much for subscribing. And hello, all new subs. This channel is growing slowly, trying so hard to get to 2,000, and I appreciate everybody, and the feedback has been awesome. Got some great things coming down the pipe based on that feedback. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Yeah, and I think this will work. I tried to make it bigger, but I don't know. 3 to 1.